Your patients need convenient and cost-efficient healthcare, and in the increasingly competitive pharmacy environment, independent pharmacies shouldn't have to struggle. That's where Value Drug Company steps in. At Value Drug, we treat our members like family, providing first-rate, personalized service and the support they deserve. While you provide exceptional care for your patients, we provide you comprehensive solutions to help you become efficient, productive, and profitable. We offer online ordering and mobile capabilities with our state-of-the-art distribution center to maintain quality and control. We help your community pharmacy get connected to the right service providers and access your market. And we don't stop there. Learn more about how Value Drug can help your pharmacy thrive at valuedrugco.com. That's valuedrugco.com. Value Drug Company is a proud sponsor of the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
You are listening to the global network of podcasters dedicated to the pharmacy profession. Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association's annual conference post show, presented by the Pharmacy Podcast Network. In this three-part series, we bring you exclusive interviews from the conference, held February 20th through the 22nd at the Hilton Harrisburg. You'll hear real conversations with industry leaders including Dr. Kyle McCormick, John DeJames, the American Pharmacists Association CEO Dr. Michael Hogue, and many more. This series is proudly sponsored by Value Drug Company and the Pennsylvania Pharmacist Care Network, PPCN, as they celebrate their 10th anniversary of advancing pharmacist-led patient care across the Commonwealth.
Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association 2026 here with Darryle. I want you to introduce yourself to the listeners because they can't see you like I can see you.
Thank you. Darryle Tillman, PPA's president, Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association president for 2026. Thankful for the opportunity, humbled to serve, and ready to go.
We're here with John DeJames as well. John, it's good to see you.
Always good to see you, Todd.
Was my co-host for the Pharmacy 50 Awards. It was so much fun working with you there.
I actually enjoyed myself. I thought I was coming just to present an award, and I got to be included in the show, which was phenomenal because just getting to see some of those people I've interacted with in the profession out of your top 50 and, just knowing them personally, just that little story about them that I could share was that was impactful for me. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, Todd.
And John was an incredible mentor to me and an amazing predecessor for me in my role.
Well, the reason why I'm excited to interview you, Darryle, is because every time we get a new president, we get a new opportunity to have new ideas, innovation, whatever that's coming from you. What are you excited about at pharmacy in general?
That's a great question. Thank you for the question. I'm excited to do the work that will bring us together to move this profession forward. I have three main priorities: increase patient access, because we have way too many pharmacy deserts here in Pennsylvania. We have, and it's both a rural and urban and a suburban problem. Different dynamics to that, but there's way too many deserts. There's people who are having more and more troubles getting scripts filled. Yep. They need our services. They need the access. So that's the first priority. The second priority is to put an investment into our next generation. I call them Generation Next. I am uber excited about the next generation and their potential. And I think it needs to be nurtured. It needs to be mentored. So we're going to put an investment of time and talent into that. And then the third thing I want to get done is I want to bring the pharmacy community together. Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association is the largest association representing pharmacists in the whole Commonwealth. And we represent pharmacists in every section of pharmacy. And there are other groups out there who represent pharmacists in different sections of pharmacy, but this one represents all. And everybody has a place, a seat here in PPA. And so my objective is to partner with those other groups, find like-minded goals, and let's start moving the ball down the field for the betterment of not just the profession, but the 13 million people that call Pennsylvania home.
Yep. You fall right in line with that mission, John, and the work that you've done with Value Drug over the years and how that they've assured the survivability and thrivability of community pharmacy, but then also your partnerships in other sectors of pharmacy. How do you navigate evolution? We're older guys. You and I are veterans now. We're not the young guys anymore, but how do you keep innovation going?
I think the big thing, Todd, you got to look at is if you're not changing, you're going to be left behind. So having the perspective of what that change is, showing people the better end of what that advancement and change is going to do, not just for themselves, but for the profession. And it all flows downstream. So you make that change. It helps your profession. It helps the end user, which is the patient. Value's just always, I don't want to say they've always been out in the forefront, but I don't have a better way of putting it. It's always, they led with PPCN when PPCN was in its infancy days. When you look at the amount of, I think there's 200 pharmacies that are Pennsylvania Pharmacy Care Network pharmacies. The majority of them are value drug companies. So, our shareholders emulate what we put out there between our strategist group, our account managers, and just, the leadership at Value Drug. What it adds to it's always promoted the profession. In a very unique way. Yes, we are a wholesaler, but in a very uniquer way, we do a lot more than sell a product. Yeah. I would actually say we're more service orientated. That is what we do. And who benefits from it? Our shareholders, the profession, and the patients. You will not get me off those three. It's just, it's a full circle moment. I don't want to say it's the circle of life of pharmacy, but when you think about it, as we continue to push patient care, I don't care where you go in rural or in rural PA, in underserved PA, no matter where you go, there is still an independent pharmacy. And the majority of the time, that independent pharmacy is still the backbone of the community. So, we're not a big chain, but like I said, just in PA alone, we have about 400 independents. Those are the lifeline for a lot of patients that are out there that, I don't have to tell you, you probably see your pharmacist a lot more than you see your doctor.
Yeah.
So,
what John just shared, Darryle, ties back to what pharmacists do in every aspect that they work in. I spend time with them in specialty. I get to spend time with them in a health system pharmacy, an independent community, and even policy creation right here in Harrisburg, where you're going to go to our government, you're going to go to our state representatives and the governor, you're going to tell them insider information of how important it is to keep access flowing, just like you said. So what does the Pennsylvania state specifically, the legislators, the state reps, the governor, what do you think they need to understand about the evolution of pharmacy?
Well, first and foremost, we serve the underserved. We serve the undervalued. We serve the marginalized. So we go to those places to the places where people don't want to go. We go into those neighborhoods, those communities, those health systems, and we take care of the most vulnerable of our society. Okay. So that's the first thing I want the governor to hear. And we cannot continue to have a recession. Recession would be a poor word, but a decrease in the amount of pharmacists and pharmacies that are all around the Commonwealth. I mean, if you really think about it, right? You take away your community pharmacy. Let's spread the domino effect of that.
Yeah, dominoes.
So the domino effect of that is there's no community pharmacy. There's patients. Let's just take one condition, diabetes. They don't get their insulin. So where do they end up? In the ER. Let's not even say the worst case scenario. Let's not say they're in diabetic ketoacidosis. Let's just say they have a sugar of 400 or 500 and they need insulin, okay? Now we're taking away resources from the health systems that need them for the sickest patients, but now we have to take care of this situation, right? And I don't know about 2024, 2025 numbers, but I think it was in 2023, out of 159 hospitals, only 10 broke even or made a margin, a positive margin. I mean, so all these other hospitals and health systems that are already under financial pressure, right? It's only going to get worse. I mean, it's not politics, it's math. We've already lost a couple health systems in this Commonwealth over the last couple of years. There's a bunch of others that are in trouble. And the community pharmacies, we've lost, what, John, about 800 of them in the last 18, 24 months?
Well, I know we were probably over 600 beginning of, well, tail end of last year, so it's up there.
So if you have that many pharmacies gone, it's not like we're not as prolific as a nurse, as a physician, right? But we're the ones who are most accessible because last time I checked, pharmacies are open 7 days a week. You know, the only other thing that's open 7 days a week is the hospital. So pharmacies are open 7 days a week. Pharmacies, you don't need an appointment to go to see a pharmacist. We're picking up folks that slip through the cracks of the profession, of the healthcare industry, that can't get appointments with other healthcare providers for whatever reason. I'm not blaming anybody. But it is what it is.
Yep.
So it's critical at this point in time, the governor, the state assembly, Congress, the president, you know, the HHS secretary, all understand that it's time to step up and help us help those who are in most need, or else you'll have a bigger problem.
Yeah, it's true. John, I think that when we talk about pharmacy deserts and we think of how that affects community health and the loss of that community moving away because maybe they're not close enough to facilities, that in of itself is a danger to public health.
You know, it is, and I think if you look on the insurance side, I'm going to take the insurance perspective. The first thing they're going to say is, well, you can use a mail order pharmacy. That's the first thing they're going to say. Every PBM owns their own mail order pharmacy. Every insurance network has a mail order pharmacy. Let me ask you this, Todd. Do you think you can deliver good quality patient care service through the mail?
No.
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
So when I go back and I start thinking of that, just to build off with some of the stuff that Darryle said, we're not asking for like a windfall of money to come to us.
Right.
What we are asking is to be fair. When you look at surrounding states around us, New York, look at the Ohio model with a single PBM with a tiered structure and pricing on the Medicaid side. The fact that we have a law from 2019-2020 that dictates there's supposed to be a set reimbursement rate on the Medicaid side, but yet I can go to an MCO in the Philadelphia area. Two different MCOs pay two different payment models. It's nowhere near the $10 that's out there. I can go to the Western Pennsylvania side where I live. I have an MCO, one that's paying $5.63. There's a magic number. I got another one paying $6. So when you think about it, we're here east and west. There's a couple more MCOs in that picture, but I have 4 different payment models when it should only be one payment.
Yeah.
All we're asking for is just that fair pricing. And I don't have to tell you about advocacy. I know you see me around, and it's just, I say to all these politicians a lot, the only time you care about constituents is when you need their vote.
Yeah.
And I just, we're going to continue to have these until someone, hopefully soon in Pennsylvania, wakes up. Now, to me, it's an obvious thing if you're the governor of what is happening, especially in the rural sites. But I tell everybody, even in Pittsburgh, where I'm from and you're from that area, I can be in the inner city and have to drive 2 zip codes over to find a pharmacy. That should not be happening in a metropolis. It's just, it does not make any sense. Perhaps the head of the Department of Health and Human Services in PA, needs to, I don't want to say get attuned, but understand what the issues are, other than if you're a politician, you're doing status quo. You're not doing a service for, number one, the people that got you into the office, the people that kept you in the office, and the people that you serve. So, I don't want to put out any names right now, but I think you get where I'm going. Yeah. But it's a pretty easy fix, Todd. Just be fair.
Piggybacking off what John just said, we lost, and I'm from Philadelphia originally. We lost a pharmacy in the Grays Ferry section of Philadelphia. The next closest pharmacy was 6 miles away.
Jeez.
6 miles on SEPTA is an hour round trip.
Jeez.
Because SEPTA runs, stopping at every red light and stop sign in every corner, roughly 18 miles an hour on the average. I'm not knocking SEPTA because they're doing what they have to do to move people around goods and services, right? So, but the point is, when you look at two inner cities, opposite ends of the state, you still see the same problem. You go up to a place like Potter County, and my colleague's parents live there. One of my colleague's parents lives there, and parents have to go over 45 minutes on a drive one way to get to a pharmacy.
Jeez.
I mean, we're literally talking about people's lives. You know what I mean? And it's not just my life, not just your life. It's our parents, it is our siblings, it is our spouses, our children. These are people we love and care about. That's what they need to hear. Yep. And that's what it is.
Yeah, every politician's mantra should be, "Show me you care."
Yeah.
Show me you care. And then I will stop. I'll do anything for you. I'll help with your constituents, but you personally show me that you care. Yep. Don't give me lip service.
Yeah, I mean we're so far beyond the lip service at this point. I mean, action has to be done. Now, what's the final guardrail? The final guardrail is the people. At some point, if this continues, people are gonna get hurt.
Yep.
And then the people will rise up. And that won't be a good day for anybody. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, it doesn't matter. It won't be a good day. So they have to start listening to what the people on the ground are. And look, I'm not an owner. I'm not a manager. I'm a frontline pharmacist.
Yep.
I take care of cancer patients.
Yeah.
Hematology, oncology patients. That's what I do. So, I can't have a legislator or a person from the executive branch say, "Well, you don't know what's going on." Yeah, I do. I'm right there every day. Ask John. He's seen me all garbed up. Pictures. I mean, and John, in a different role, right there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Healthcare should never be associated with a political party. It should be associated with everybody.
Yep.
That's the end result.
It's true. So. John, Darryle, thanks for being part of the Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association 2026 post show, and a big shout out to Value Drug Company and the Pennsylvania Pharmacists Care Network for sponsoring our coverage of the PPA 2026. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Jonathan from the Wilkes University Nesbitt School of Pharmacy, and you are listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Jonathan, it's so good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm well, Todd. You?
Very good. Hey, there's something special happening at Wilkes, and you've mentioned this, that the other 7 pharmacy schools throughout the state are starting to do some interesting engagement with the community, with these younger 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade people in high school, and starting to introduce them to the new age of pharmacy, not what the public perceives, that you have a white coat and you're standing behind a counter and that's all that you do and you count pills, and I hate that. But now all of a sudden we're talking about DNA, and we're talking about pharmacogenomics, and we're talking about being a medical science liaison. And so talk to me about that, because that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. At the Nesbitt School of Pharmacy and the other 6 schools are doing the same. We're offering camps to high school students to explain to them all of the things that you can do with a PharmD degree. The United States Bureau of Labor and Statistics will tell us that there are over 100 different career paths that you can go into with a PharmD degree. So explaining to those next generation of pharmacists about about pharmacogenomics, about what working for industry and medical science liaison, going into government relations, government affairs, policy, clinical research, bench research, all of the things that you can do with a PharmD really, really excites me.
That would excite me. When you think about it, the changes that have happened over the last 20 years, and now you probably are starting to feel old like I am. I've been in pharmacy now 22 years, been podcasting about pharmacy for 17 years, and I'm just like, I look back the way that it was when I first entered, and there were tight silos around long-term care, community, specialty, compounding. Now those silos have come down and it's starting to get intermixed, and I think that in itself starts to offer up new opportunity too.
Oh, it absolutely does. And you and I have been in the game for just as long. I've been listening to your podcast for 17 years.
Gracious.
It's one of my favorites. And what excites me now too, Todd, is when it feels to me like we as pharmacists are starting to define who we are by the patients that we serve.
Ooh.
I'm a community pharmacist as opposed to the R word, the retail pharmacist. I work in a health system as opposed to a hospital pharmacist. Physicians, nurse practitioners, they've been doing this for a while. They talk about the specialty of the patients that we serve, and it finally feels like those silos are coming down, and we're starting to define our roles by whom we serve.
I just read an article about nutrition. It was in Drug Topics, just came out last week, about how nutrition is a whole opportunity for healthcare coaching from a pharmacist's perspective, now mixing in the pharmacological with the nutrition and allergies and different things. And I'm like, wow, that's a whole position in and of itself.
It's amazing. And those pharmacists, they're learning critical thinking skills and communication skills in our PharmD programs. And they're able to take their blend of science as well as clinical acumen and bring it together and have those conversations with the patients. I find it fascinating when we're interviewing high school students, the days of, why do you want to be a pharmacist? Well, I like science and I like math and I don't like blood, so I'm not going to be a doctor. Yeah. Give me the artistic individual, the creative individual, the critical thinker, the one that wants to host a pharmacy podcast, the one that wants to be a pharmacy influencer, to talk about what it is that we can do as pharmacists to impact our community. And we'll help teach you the world and the science and the art of pharmacy, but to be able to communicate that and counsel patients is also very, very important.
What do you think about, and I'm pretty proud, I'm a little biased because I'm from Pennsylvania, but the evolution of the Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association and the cultivation of the Pennsylvania Pharmacist Care Network and where we are today, celebrating our 10th year anniversary of that organization.
Oh my gosh, Todd, it's absolutely amazing. We would not have been able to on March 1st, 2024, when we received word from Pennsylvania State Medicaid that we were able to bill for our services. That wouldn't have happened without the PPCN. That would not have happened without the PPA, their leaders, its members, rallying around, communicating, collaborating, whether it be at annual conferences or Zoom calls throughout the years. But I have no doubt in my mind that we wouldn't be where we were at today if it weren't for PPA and PPCN.
Yeah, and a shout out to other people listening. This is going out nationally. We're getting people from all over the country listening to the show. If you are in a state and you haven't engaged in the CPESN way of thinking and the tribes that they build within the state, reach out to your pharmacy network, reach out to your pharmacy association and ask what they're doing. If you're missing pieces, reach out to the PPA, reach out to the Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association, because PPA has done an amazing job at taking what it means to be a treatment management pharmacist and a clinical-driven pharmacist and really showing the state Medicaid systems money can be saved and people don't get dropped or lost in the shuffle.
It's amazing.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Todd.
The future of pharmacy. I have two future PharmDs standing here with me in the podcast booth at the PPA 2026. Jake, introduce yourself to our listeners.
Hi, I'm Jake Reckenbauher. I'm a PY1 at Duke University.
All right, you, Anthony, you're up.
I'm also a PY1 student at Duquesne University. Yeah.
You have to say your name, though, Anthony. Nobody knows who you are.
I'm Anthony King.
All right, so the future of pharmacy and what I've seen, I've been in it now for 22 years, and I think that there's so much opportunity with technology and the things that are happening in different disease states and the expansion of specialty pharmacy. But Jake, let me start with you. What are you excited about? What sector of pharmacy, and what do you feel like you want to do as a pharmacist?
I'm mostly intrigued about industry and the MSL position, just mostly because it dabbles in clinical, but also has a fair amount of like industrial and payer communication, and so that's exciting to me. Yeah.
What about you, Anthony?
Yeah, I think there's two main things that excite me. For personally, I want to get into managed care, I think, and see how we can maybe reform the healthcare system a little bit and get some transparency in where the money's going. And then secondly, on everyone's mind, AI is really interesting. I want to see how it's integrated into the pharmacy career. So those are two things that excite me. Yeah.
So there's a company here called TJM Labs. I'm not sure if you got a chance to talk to them, but they're an AI company that is specific to pharmacy.
Wow.
They were born in pharmacy. So I think there's a power to that. Like, if you throw AI at anything, it's only as good as the context of what you can really like get out of it. So what have you experienced in the use of AI so far in your life, and how would that tie back to pharmacy, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I use it every day alongside my learning. So I have it up in class sometimes to answer quick, short questions. I recognize that it can't, everyone is afraid of replacement. It can't replace the pharmacist because of clinical, judgment, and you need that. You need a human to do that type of stuff. But I think it's a great tool, like everyone says. And just like it is in learning, it can't replace my testing or whatnot. But I mean, it can help me to do better in school. Now, in terms of career, I like in the actual field, people seem to be mistrusting of AI too, and I understand that. And how we've used it in class is to kind of like just work alongside of us, and we'll respond to a question, like a DI question, and then we'll have AI respond to that same question and see where it made the mistakes. So yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see where it might be utilized in pharmacy.
Jake, what about you?
Piggybacking off what Tony said about us using AI in class, I use AI for to create tests and test my knowledge as well, using stuff uploaded by the teachers or study guides. And so I agree, it's only as good as the information you feed it. So you really have to be critical and careful of what you're putting in. And I think it can be a really powerful tool in the future, but once again, I don't think it can replace clinical judgment. And I think that nobody's going to be willing to insure AI making a mistake. So
I think a lot of legislation has to be done around it.
Yeah, absolutely. But so I don't think it's going to replace pharmacy whatsoever. So I think I'm really excited to use it as a tool, though.
Yeah. Me too. I think the data analysis has helped me. I take 17 years of podcast data, and I've asked AI what have been my most popular podcast subjects over 17 years. What's the hottest ones? What's the ones that keep repeating, that keep getting me more listeners than another? And guess what? It told me. It mapped out the top 10 subjects. I love that. You know how long it would have taken me to take 17 years of podcast data? Like, that's what I think it's like.
Yeah, laying out the data and organization is really important with AI, but I think as humans we have to do the interpretation. And that's probably the separation you can find in the career field too. But I think it's a great tool for that, data organization and kind of laying it out in a visual manner.
Pharmacy Podcast Network has had an awards program that's been running for 4 years now called the Pharmacy 50 Most Influential People in Pharmacy. Not just pharmacists, but people in pharmacy. And 6 of the 50 were social media influencers that are pharmacists. So where do you think, with the need for transparency, with the need of truth, where do you think social media fits into being a pharmacist?
Well, I think that social media fits into being a pharmacist, especially through just the idea of people trusting pharmacists the most. We're the first people they see when they go to pick up their medication, and we're the first point of contact for many patients. So being able to see one on social media allows you to know you're in good hands automatically, and you can trust the source as long as they actually do have a PharmD.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it could be very influential and powerful, just putting the right words out there from the right people, allowing for patients to get better informed on any subject that the pharmacist is willing to talk about.
Yeah, a big factor of that is, social media is a large source of misinformation.
Yeah.
So having the right role models out there, actual PharmDs on social media promoting the correct information would be very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a controversy happening right now with two extremely prominent pharmacists who are challenging each other with the kind of information that they're putting out and trying to make it evidence-based in order to sell products, and the knife's edge of where it is where you're grifting versus where you're providing really good sound information. So shout out to everybody listening. If you're a pharmacist, I want you to be on social media, but you have to hold yourself to a higher standard based on the oath of the pharmacist, based on your PharmD. You don't get to just be the layperson or the general consumer on TikTok and whatever you say. You actually are held to an upper standard.
Yeah, the PharmD doesn't leave your name just because you're not at work. You got to represent that offline, on social media and outside of work too. So I agree with that. Yeah.
All right, we have 42 active podcasts right now. I hope that you guys are 2 new subscribers to be able to learn from pharmacists out there doing some amazing things, and I appreciate you guys being on the show.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, Todd.
Thank you.
The Pennsylvania Pharmacist Care Network, or PPCN, is transforming how community pharmacy contributes to patient care across the Commonwealth. PPCN is a network of more than 200 pharmacies committed to delivering high-quality, patient-centered care that goes far beyond traditional dispensing.
Through PPCN, pharmacists collaborate with physicians, health plans, and healthcare providers to improve medication use, enhance outcomes, and lower the total cost of care. Their pharmacists deliver services like comprehensive medication management, immunizations, medication synchronization, chronic disease support, and other enhanced clinical services designed to help patients stay healthier and avoid unnecessary hospitalizations.
What makes PPCN unique is it's focused on measurable outcomes. Member pharmacies participate in a clinically integrated network that emphasizes accountability, performance, and real patient results. By working directly with payers and healthcare partners, PPCN creates sustainable reimbursement opportunities for pharmacies providing these critical care services.
For pharmacists, PPCN offers the opportunity to expand beyond dispensing and become a vital part of the healthcare team. For patients, it means better medication management, improved health outcomes, and more personalized care right in their neighborhood pharmacy.
Learn more about how PPCN is advancing pharmacy practice and improving patient care across Pennsylvania at PAPharmacistsNetwork.com. That's PAPharmacistsNetwork.com.
Hey, Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association 2026. We're talking with Dr. Gavin Merin and also Angela York from the Value Drug Company's Specialty Pharmacy Division. It's so good to have you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, specialty pharmacy is one of the most fascinating sectors of pharmacy. I love going to this NASP every year. Shout out to them. They're one of our network members. When I think of specialty and I think of the fusion of community, it's powerful because you're meeting patients where they are. They want to trust their community pharmacy. If you're on a specialty medication, there's probably an elevated level of stress in your life, of something that's going on with you. Angela, I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about values, strategy, and specialty pharmacy.
So we're a little unique, which is nice. If you are a member of the Value Drug Company and you use them as a wholesaler, we offer what we call a care site opportunity. So they have their core set of patients that they come in and they service their regular medications. When they get a specialty prescription that's coming in for Otezla or Dupixent, things that are in that specialty realm, they can actually refer that to us. We are able to process the patient, fill the prescription, get them the assistance that they need, maybe for copays. And then when we fill it, we send it to the pharmacy that referred that prescription to us so that that patient stays central to that pharmacy. So they're able to pick it up there. They're counseled by our pharmacist, but they can get additional counseling from their local pharmacist that they trust. And it keeps those prescriptions all within that particular pharmacy, which is nice. Oftentimes we see in other settings where it may be referred out to one of the bigger box stores.
Yep.
And when that happens, even their maintenance medications sometimes get pulled to those stores too. So this allows them to kind of stay in that independent pharmacy, and we can service things that they aren't able to do themselves.
Nice. So, Gavin, what role are you playing here at Value Drug Specialty?
Yeah, so I am their first pharmacist fellow.
Nice.
So I graduated back in May and started up in mid-June, July, and I have pretty much hopped on as a clinical pharmacist of sorts in the process of getting medications out to the patient, onboarding them, giving them the instructions on how to use the medication, side effects to expect, how to manage certain side effects, as well as continuing to monitor the patient on their therapy and see how they're doing after the fact. Whether there's a need for a change in therapy or if they're being clinically managed properly with their current therapy. So I feel like I've learned a lot just between, my API rotation at Penn State, their specialty pharmacy, and then continuing on here with Value Specialty.
Gavin, do you feel like you want to stay in the specialty sector?
Yes, I do. I have enjoyed every second of, being in the specialty sector. I attended NASP back in, I guess that was August, and, loved all of the continuing education credits that they had, and meeting, other individuals within the specialty field and kind of learning from them as well, how their operations kind of work and how they kind of differ from ours. But having that opportunity to do specialty medications is something that I want to continue doing as I progress.
So NASP has a certification. It's like a certified specialty pharmacist or something.
Yes.
Are you? Is that something you'll pursue as well?
Yes, that is my main goal. I will be, I believe, 1,000 hours short at the conclusion of my fellowship in July. And I will be working to get those remaining 1,000 hours so that I can sit for that exam. Yeah.
Angela, talk to me about the refreshing, the excitement that the Value member now says, I don't have to lose my patient if there's a specialty med involved.
Yeah, oftentimes specialty medications are extremely expensive, so being able to refer that in-house allows them not to have to carry that product on their shelves. Sometimes they can't even bill that product because you need to have certain licensures in order to process those specialty prescriptions. So it's a very good, it's a mutually beneficial setup. We are getting referrals that we're able to service, and they're able to keep those patients and keep those dollars on the prescriptions that are their maintenance medications in-house. So it's a win-win for both of us, and I think a lot of the care site pharmacies really enjoy that.
All right, so I think of the future of the fusion of our community and specialty together. Yeah, I don't think it can be done unless you have a value drug between them to kind of navigate everything for them, because there's a lot of things from a pricing perspective, like you said, that comes into play. Where do you think the opportunity is for a pharmacy that's listening right now, a community pharmacy listening right now? They're not necessarily in specialty. They know they have patients that are in specialty. What's the opportunity for them in partnering with Value?
So Value actually has a few different tiers of membership. So give them a call, reach out to them, see what's available.
For independent pharmacies,
if you're local Central Pennsylvania, we do Pennsylvania, some New York, Maryland, West Virginia. We're expanding all the time. So reach out to us if you're within that area. We can service you and look into partnership opportunities, maybe even with just the specialty pharmacy. If the wholesaler is not something that we're able to service right away, we can work into that. But reach out. There's opportunities, and we're always changing. So that might be something we can still do.
All right, so this is a national podcast publication, so people that are all over the United States are listening. If you're going to Assembia, if you're going to the NASB, and you want to hook up with Value Drug Company, who is a extremely intimate, working with members organization. Your members don't. I heard from several of them. They feel like they never get lost in the shuffle of some of the big wholesalers. So reach out to them. Reach out to Gavin. Reach out to Angela, or reach out to Pharmacy Podcast Network. We'll get you connected with them. But I want to thank you, Gavin, for being on the PPA 2026 post show, and Angela, I want to thank you for supporting the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And just one shout out. We do have a fellowship program for this coming school year starting in August. So if you are going to be graduating in May and you are looking into specialty, please reach out to Value Specialty Pharmacy. Might be something we can set up with you as well.
That is a big opportunity for a young pharmacist to get exposure like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to talking to you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Special friend, somebody I've been looking forward to interviewing, Tom DePietro. He is a pharmacist here in Pennsylvania, here at the 2026 PPA. Tom, welcome.
Well, it's great to be here. It's great to finally connect with you. At night, as a nerdy pharmacist, I often fall asleep listening to your show. So to actually meet you in person, it's a pleasure, and to be on, it's even more exciting.
That's wild. Thank you so much. When I put people's names in Google, AI is now bringing up information about you. And it says that it says that there's a philosophy that you have, and it says that Tom DePietro's philosophy is to focus on attentive, personalized service and community-based care, and he's recognized as one of the best local pharmacies in his area for 5 consecutive years by the Times Tribune, and received awards for the Business of the Year. A graduate of Dunmore High School and Temple University School of Pharmacy. That's pretty special when AI is picking that stuff up about you, isn't it?
It's humbling to read. Next month, DePietro's Pharmacy will turn 14 years. Looking back, it's been such a long road, but it's been cool to meet industry partners, figure out problems that you didn't think you'd have to figure out, and then along the way, like that has been what has been left behind in the years that have now become history, right? But yeah, I'm just so excited for pharmacy. Opened 14 years ago. I think the last 13 of them I've spent advocating for pharmacy benefit manager reform. Yeah. Just wanting our community to know the stuff that exists behind the scenes that you would never know or think. I feel like right now, pharmacy has never had so much momentum. So to see this big boulder that we've all been collectively pushing up the hill to almost hit, hopefully, what's going to be a peak, and hopefully what's going to drive insurance reform, is so exciting, because 13 years ago, when I would say PBM, nobody would even know what it is. Exactly. Now it's common to pop open LinkedIn or, turn the news on and you hear the harms of pharmacy benefit managers or the harms of insurance companies. And I think our community is now in tune to the fact that healthcare is dysfunctional and it needs to change. And that's what makes me so exciting to actually, come out to shows like this and see the people that are doing the work day in and day out to make this happen.
Tom, how do you take your pharmacy from where you were 14 years ago, much different landscape, a little bit, I'm not going to say it was easier, but it was definitely different, and PBMs didn't have as many teeth, and they weren't as sucking up as much profit. They were still doing some things, but now we're in a new age where I was talking to Kyle McCormick, and I said, what other services are you doing? Are you doing contraception? Are you doing clinics? Are you doing, vaccinations? And he's like, no. He goes, because I'm cash-based, I don't have to put up with the PBMs, so I'm dispensing and caring for my patients and doing what pharmacy did in the yesteryears, per se. But that's not the case for the majority of our independent pharmacies. So I want to see pharmacies thrive, and I want to talk to owners who have a new blueprint ready to get to the next phase of growth. So what is that growth?
Yeah, I was talking to two pharmacy owners outside the room right before coming on to the show, and what I said to them is, this is my philosophy, but it's my philosophy because that's how I grew the store. Like this wouldn't be the approach that Kyle would want to take and explain to listeners, but I think it's important for pharmacists to recognize that they do need an approach, and we're all here to offer one approach. Kyle's is more of the cash-based. My focus is on medication management for my community, and what I mean by that is, there are certainly friends of mine that just get Prilosec and they stop at CVS on their way home. They pick up their prescription, they grab a jug of milk, they go home. They just need a pharmacy, and there are a lot of people that just need a pharmacy. My belief, I want customers that need a pharmacist. And what does that mean? They need me to organize their 12, 13 medications. They need me to oversee what vaccines they may need. They turn to me when they have questions for their over-the-counters, or they turn questions to me for their supplements. So we're more focused on doing what our competition will not do. Medication management does a couple things. It drives your sales, right? So unfortunately, the business economics is, I want high sales so then I could qualify for better discounts on my sell side, right? Because the reimbursement's going to be what it is. So, I'm a volume-driven business, but high touch on the customer. So a lot of transactions, but my customers don't feel it because we're organizing their medicine and we're only touching them, twice or 3 times a month, but in a cohesive manner. It's not Betty's calling in one prescription every other day and picking it up 12 times. So high touch, high volume, better buy side to deal with this poor reimbursement side.
Yeah. Now, what about like compounding? What about getting into specific counseling for patients around their disease state management? What other things are you?
Yeah, I think healthcare is always going to be local, right? So we definitely offer compounding. We don't. It's not a primary focus, but you know what? When people turn to you and say, "Hey, could you make this?" or "Could you compound this?" being able to offer the service to say yes we could is sometimes often brings us a new family. We're able to take care of their cat, we're able to take care of their dog, and then they say, hey, I should get my prescriptions here. How do I transfer my family? So I would say healthcare is always local. And then the second part of it is,
What's other things that could lead to more services? So, for example, if you have a patient that's suffering with diabetes or hypertension or something's happening where they're looking to you as a healthcare coach, that extends the relationship, but also extends the earning opportunity from that patient.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I know our staff does CMRs and tip phone calls, but at the conference, one of the presentations was on remote patient monitoring, and that's something that I continue to tell myself I'm going to dedicate some time to look into, because I do see that as something, Todd, that we're kind of already doing anyway with the check-in phone call. So being able to have visibility of, say the patient's blood pressure, I think is just a perfect fold-in for a pharmacy, especially one like ours that's offering medication management to so many of our customers. So I do see that as definitely an opportunity. I even spoke to another woman who works as a long-term care pharmacy consultant, and her and I sat next to each other in that presentation, and she said, this may even be like a concierge type service that even if a person's insurance might not cover it, I totally see value in maybe a family paying for it for a caregiver. How could you not want a pharmacist overseeing your health on a day-to-day basis? So, great, so many cool takeaways at the conferences.
Yeah, the big term right now, or the big shift is doing things that you've always done, but finally getting paid for them and extending into long-term care at home, where now your community patients who have been coming to DePietro's for years, all of a sudden something happened to them and they can't get out of their house. So why give that patient up? Therefore, you're entering their home multitude of different ways. Technology's there, but now you get a tackle box, you get some compliance, issues done. You bill a certain way. Call up Jerry Med or something, and now you're at long-term care
and that's the other thing I say too is like we have to be able to redefine ourselves as pharmacies. I think one of the things I would challenge other owners to do is for the longest time we did free delivery. So you mentioned getting paid for something that you're already doing. We imposed like a very small fee, $5 I believe per delivery. But for the longest time I said, oh no, we have to do it for free. It's always been done for free. It's free. But that doesn't work in today's world. So you see people are willing to pay some of the big food delivery apps and other delivery apps. So why should we be left out just because we have done it for free, which we certainly know it's not free. So adding revenue like that is going to help you stay afloat. Your customers are willing to pay. If you don't ask for it, they're not going to be able to offer it to you. But you'd be surprised about how many people are supportive of our story and our journey. We'd be scared to charge, but when I imposed the fee, I had a customer come up to me and said, you guys deserve more than this. Charge me whatever you want. And it's stuff like that. So I think, we have to continue to collaborate as owners, share ideas, and what works for us, that medication management might work for me. Maybe it's only going to work for you for 20% of your effort, but I think that the wheel of opportunities is out there. It's just a matter of what do you want to be your 80% focus, and then what's going to be your other 20% focus.
Tom DePietro, thanks for being on the show and here at the PPA 2026.
Thanks for all you do for pharmacy.